Hello, friends. Imagine an artist who could turn frost into warmth on canvas and an ordinary river into a mystical fairy tale. This is Pekka Halonen, 1865 to 1933, a master who forever wove the soul of Finnish nature into his paintings. His winter landscapes, peasant scenes and portraits are not just art. It is a window into a world where snow whispers and trees breathe stories. And here is a quote that, in my opinion, perfectly describes his style: "I don't paint snow. I paint the light that lives under it." Today we are going to dive into his life, from a poor boy from Lapinlahti to a legend revered throughout Finland. Are you ready? Let's go. Pekka was born in a village where everyone knew everyone. His father, Olli, was a craftsman who carved wood for churches, and his mother, Wilhelmina, played the kantili, a traditional Finnish instrument. Can there be anything more poetic than a childhood where the sound of a chisel is mixed with the melody of strings? I think. It was his mother who taught Pekka to see music. He said that the colors in his paintings were chords, and the shadows were the pauses between them, but life was not an idyll. There was barely enough money for food, and his parents dreamed of their son becoming a teacher. Pekka even entered a pedagogical institute, but what do you do when you realize that your vocation is not to teach children, but to create a world of colors? He dropped out, took a bag of bread and brushes, and went to Helsinki. There he spent cold nights, worked on construction sites, and studied at the Atheneum, the first art school in Finland. Imagine, he was so poor that he asked his native village for a certificate of poverty to continue his studies. But it was here, amidst strict rules and the Swedish language, that he learned to capture the moment when the sun touches the snow. The 1880s. Paris is the heart of world art. Halonen enters the Académie Julian, where he meets the symbolists, impressionists, and the eccentric Paul Gauguin, who has just returned from Tahiti. Imagine this conversation: a Finnish guy from the snowy forests and a Frenchman who is passionate about the tropics. Gauguin taught him to see colors as symbols, and Japanese prints taught him to build a composition based on the principle of asymmetry. But Pekka did not imitate them. He took from Paris what resonated with his northern soul. It was here that the painting The Mowers, his first major success, was born. The painting depicts his brother Antti working in the field. Doesn't it look like a dance? I ask. Hard work is combined with grace, and the sunlight seems to be singing. The painting impressed Paris, but for Halonen, something else was more important. He proved that Finnish everyday life could be art. Upon returning home, Pekka married Maija Mäkinen. But their happiness was not only tested by misfortune. The local community, which had once been proud of his talent, suddenly turned away from him. Why? They thought his designs for the church altar were too bold. Isn't that always the way it is? Art that goes beyond the boundaries frightens those who are afraid of change, I think. And what do you think about it? Write in the comments. The family fled to Tuusula, where Pekka built a studio house. Imagine, windows overlooking the lake, pine trees rustling with stories, and a studio where winter landscapes were born. Here he painted crucified on the cross, an image that strikes with the depth of suffering and hope. Is it possible to show the divine through colors? He seems to ask in this work, Halonen's secret? He never painted in a studio. His paintings were born in the open air, even in -20 degrees Celsius. Imagine him standing in the snow, his brush freezing, and he paints until the last ray of sunlight fades away. His winter landscapes are not just colors. It is a feeling, the cold on the cheeks, the silence, where every sound sounds like a gunshot. The influence of Malay and Japanesism is noticeable in the vertical compositions and ornaments, but most importantly, he created his own Finnish style. One of the most mysterious works is Maidens by the River, inspired by the epic Kalevala. The girls, like ghosts, float in the fog, and their dresses merge with the water. Do you feel the same mysticism here as I do? I ask. And the painting Logging, commissioned for the League of Nations, is a hymn to labor, where each log seems to be alive. By the end of his life, Halonen had created more than 1,000 works. He was called the Song of the Finnish land, and in 1925 he was awarded the title of professor. His house in Tuusula is now a museum where every corner breathes with creativity. Why is his art still alive? Perhaps because he taught us to see the miracle in the ordinary, in the snowy haze, in the work of peasants, in the silence of the forest. Next time you see a winter forest, take a closer look. Maybe you will feel the same way as Pekka. Art is not what you see. It is what makes others see. And if you want to touch his world, check out the online archives of his work. See how the snow in his paintings glows as if it contains millions of crystals. And, of course, write in the comments which work impressed you the most. Thank you for traveling with me. Don't forget to subscribe, there are many more incredible stories to come.